we are live. So we had some issues, but since we are 5 minutes late due to those issues, I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. And just take a deep breath with me. Release any frustration from the issues. Today, we're talking about the 3 powerful limiting beliefs empaths absorb that restrict their permission to succeed. This is our Friday live, our second live in the empath series. If you remember, we are doing the empath series all of June, where I'm going to talk about everything empath, because I know a lot of you in my group are that. So welcome. Welcome in replayers, welcome in livers, and don't forget to say hi in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from, and if you're team live or team replay, go ahead and put something like hashtag team live or hashtag team replay to let me know when you are watching. Today's live coaching session is about the beliefs that empaths absorb in childhood that are limiting you from giving yourself permission to succeed in life, business, love, career, health, whatever, anything, right? I am so excited to talk to you guys about this today because not only am I a highly sensitive empath, and there is kind of a difference between HSPs, highly sensitive people, and empath, but I am a highly sensitive person who is an empath. And I know that most of you in the group are too, whether you are aware of it or not. And because of that incredible significance that this has had on your life, on my life, and how much it affects our identities, which is the core of how you experience your reality. So if you're new here and you don't quite know me yet, my name is Kristen. I'm an alternative healing practitioner and a subconscious transformational hypnotherapist. And I have a coaching program where I help driven, empathic women break through to their true purpose and create a fulfilling, meaningful life that they love without having to conform to other people's expectations or opinions. So again, today's live coaching is about how empaths can break through the invisible ceiling created by absorbed but limiting beliefs and finally give themselves permission to succeed. I am super excited to bring this to you today because we are all empathic women here, and because of how much of the energy we absorb from other people and how that affects our lives, our beliefs in ourselves, and the actions that we're able to successfully take. Let me know in the comments if this is something that you are excited about learning about today. Give me a yes in the comments. Now, if you're an empath, you know all too well how much we absorb other people's energy. But did you know that you can also absorb limiting beliefs too? I mean, think about it. How many beliefs do you have that were just given to you? Like you had no say in the matter, beliefs that have actually crippled and restricted you in your life. People come up with these things in order to protect themselves and their loved ones, but they end up just limiting them and limiting themselves. What beliefs are restricting you from being yourself, or just giving yourself, permission to be successful? Oh my goodness, there are so many. We could be here for a month and still not address all of them. This kind of thing gets us all. And, even me and some of my successful clients. I mean, success is subjective, right? What I think is success may not be what you think is success. And what you think as success for your life, I may look at that and not think that's something that I would consider success. It is subjective. I had this client named Deborah, who in my eyes was extremely successful. She created a multi-million-dollar business as a transformational hypnotherapist. People generally come to me because they're trying to achieve something that no matter what they do, they just can't seem to achieve. And Deb wanted to scale her business, increase profits, but she felt stuck beneath a certain ceiling in her life, in her business. Like she had this a couple of times she had a great quarter, but it wasn't like long lasting. It was really dramatic and it was really good, but it didn't last a long time, or it wasn't like consistent. And she just felt like it was not sustainable. She felt stuck. She felt frustrated. Like everyone around her was doing better than her. And like something was like fundamentally wrong with her. No matter what she did, she couldn't get it to stick. Nothing was working and she couldn't understand why. How many of you guys have been there? We found this sneaky little, well, not so little, but a sneaky big belief that she had absorbed from her mother when she was young. It was like, if you're not going to do it right, you might as well not do it at all. Put a 1 in the chat if you've heard this one before. You know, as a child, you don't interpret things the way that an adult's rational mind would. And as you get older, the child version of yourself that absorbed that belief, it's still programmed as that within you and like within the depths of your subconscious, and you don't even know that it's there. You can't like rationalize it and be look at it from a different perspective because it is programmed into the background and it affects the things that you do in your life, the way that you interact with your reality. Deborah interpreted this in a way that was preventing her from giving herself permission to make mistakes. Okay? Because her mom would stop her when she was doing something incorrectly and just take over. I'm a mom, I do that. And I hope that having done that hasn't created the same conflict within my child. But she absorbed the belief if you're not going to do it right, just stop. You're not good enough. You're no good at this, right? Her business was as successful as the things she did right. Because if something didn't work, she'd usually just say, it must not be worth doing because I'll just mess it up anyway. So she missed out on all the opportunities for growth. And I really want you to see what I just did. It's not like she's going like, oh, I'm such a failure and like all these horrible things. It doesn't necessarily show up like that. It's just so matter of fact, like, oh, you have this programmed belief system running in the background about, if I'm not going to do it right the first time, I might as well not do it because I'm just going to mess it up. So you just don't do it. And it's just like, okay, next, right? Go on to the next thing that I'm good at, that I can be right at, because that is not a waste of time, according to what I've learned. All the times that things were too hard and not working, she wouldn't move forward with them. So she could never grow past her comfort zone, what I like to call the same zone, right? Just staying the same, because you can't excel past a certain point because of all the beliefs that you have that are sheltering you from it. So you just stay in your comfort zone. You wonder why nothing changes. But once we were able to go through or work through this, Deborah finally began to see permanent, steady, sustainable growth, not only in her profits, but in herself as well. And that was also reflected in some relationships, but I'm not going to get into that. That is belief number 1, but belief number 2 is very personal to me. I mean, I'm sure it's very personal to all of you as well, but I distinctly remember sitting at I just put a picture in the group on one of the postings, this week. And that picture just really struck me because it reminded me of the story I'm about to tell you. By the way, I teach in stories. I absolutely love them. And I love telling them. So I hope you enjoy them. So I distinctly remember sitting at the kitchen table. I can't remember how old I was at the time. I must have been somewhere between 8 and 10. And I was watching my mother as she paced back and forth. She was on the phone with some bill collector, and who knows which one. There were many. But this time it was different. I still feel it today, like it was happening to me, like not to her. I think you understand what that means. Like I felt like it was happening to me. You know that feeling? When you can feel exactly what the other person is going through. Did you know that not everyone can do that? I think I was like in my 30s, late 30s before it clicked, maybe even my 40s, when it clicked in my mind that not everyone can feel what everybody else is feeling. Anyway, it was the early 90s. So we had one of those phones on the wall, like on the wallpapered wall. The phones with the long cord that you kind of just like walk around the house with. She was on that phone in the kitchen, pacing like down the hall and back into the kitchen and down the hall. And I could hear her, chilling. And she was being polite at first, and then surprised. And then she got angry and started yelling. And now, as an adult, I've been there. And then I heard it. I heard my mom start, like, when I was writing this, I thought I was going to get emotional telling this because I got emotional when I was writing it. I heard my mom start pleading and crying on the phone to a complete stranger, begging them not to do it. And I'm like, and I didn't know what they were talking about. But the next morning, a tow truck came into our driveway and took our car. Oh, I am getting emotional. Ooh. Have you ever had that before? Like, not necessarily that, but like, have you heard that growing up? I'm sorry, no, I missed the belief. It was a regular reminder in our home. You have to be very careful with money, It doesn't grow on trees, Kristen. Have you ever heard that before? If you heard that growing up, put a 2 in the comments. Boy, were there so many versions of that one. I learned, it was drilled, absorbed, hammered into me that money was scarce, hard to get, and even harder to keep. It's not my parents' fault. They grew up in the war, during a war, and so did their folks. But I noticed something strange though. My grandmother, she told stories about like potatoes and leftovers from growing up during the Depression. If you know, you know. But she actually was pretty well off in the end. My mother and her siblings were from a poor immigrant family with nothing. Her siblings were incredibly successful. And my siblings, we grew up in the same environment, but they are both, I have a brother and a sister. They're both older than me, and they are both very successful. I mean, to my standard, to their own standards, but I wasn't. All right, when I put makeup on, I get an itchy nose. I don't know what that is. Just So I was homeless. I was a single mom on welfare who couldn't keep a job. Like I could get a job, but I just couldn't keep that shit. After talking with them all, like all my family members, my siblings, like everybody, I realized that they actually had different memories and made different beliefs from what they did see. My siblings took with my siblings looked at my parents' struggle and noted what to do and what not to do. They still have their limiting beliefs, I'm sure we all do, but they didn't internalize my parents' experience because they're not empaths. They didn't absorb their limiting beliefs because they couldn't. But whether a belief is programmed through witnessing or absorbed through emotional osmosis, no matter how the beliefs are downloaded, you can break through them all. I know this. And as soon as I found it within myself, as soon as I found my belief, that's exactly what I did. I couldn't spend another minute feeling like the life I wanted wasn't available to me. I'm not like that. I don't know about y'all, but like somebody can't tell me that I can't do something. No, like no matter what I did, I'd be in lack because every penny earned was so valuable I had to hoard it because of this belief system. I ended up with a bunch of things that made me feel good that had no long-term value and nothing invested, because investments were long-term financial commitments that would actually threaten the money that I was supposed to be careful with. Okay. Now I see money, bringing it in, sending it out completely differently. Being careful doesn't mean hoarding it. I didn't see it like that then, but I do now. It means using it wisely. And wisely is on things that will increase in value, propagate. This adjustment has changed my life completely. I now have a beautiful home in an amazing neighborhood. It's very difficult for me to not, I have a beautiful bay window and I love watching the kids riding by and the neighbors getting together. It's awesome. My neighbors are awesome. I have a thriving hypnotherapy practice, making more money than I ever have in my life, doing what I love, which is probably the most important part. Like every day I do what I love. I get to help people just like you change their lives too. And I'm an empath, so I will admit that makes me cry that I get to do that. I'm so grateful. Whether it's something you hear regularly, that was belief number 2. This is belief number 3. Whether it's something you hear regularly in the background of your own private thoughts, or it's quietly and sneakily sabotaging your life from the deepest parts of your unconscious, the most powerful limiting belief that empaths have absorbed from a lifetime of being different and completely misunderstood, and I get an amen, is I am somehow not good enough. My heart goes out to you, baby. And it is that belief that is most restricting you from giving yourself permission to shine, to stand out, to individualize loudly and proudly, to succeed. Oh my God. I had this amazing young lady join the program who worked for the government at the time. She doesn't do that anymore. She had a horribly narcissistic mother, which I know some of you do, who had so much control over her life. This was like a grown adult woman, young lady, but she was an adult. It wasn't until she had to move away from work, move away for work, that she was far enough from her mother's grip to actually see the damaging effects this had on her internal and external world. She'd been to a couple of therapists by the time I saw her, a couple of therapists and healers, but nothing helped. And she felt like she was doomed to have this empty feeling. She described it as feeling like she's here, existing, but she isn't living at all. Have you ever felt like that? I totally have for way too long. Like, I cannot believe how long I stayed in that. A feeling like you're not good enough and you're going through the motions, right? You're just going through the motions, just kind of like existing, but not feeling like there's much meaning to life at all. Put a 3 in the chat if that's something that you've felt before. If I had access to the chat, I would put a 3 in there right now. Actually, I would put a 1, a 2, and a 3, right? Because I'm an empath and this is the top. This is the top, you know? Not only did she and I find that she'd absorbed this incredibly limiting belief from a mother that, one, was never wrong. Okay, we're talking about a narcissist here. So that meant that my student, Linda, by the way, that's her name, Linda, was always wrong. 2, had to be the center of attention. Mom had to be the center of attention, which meant that my student, Linda, was less important. And 3, was always the victim, which meant Linda's feelings were never validated. But we found a whole host of supporting limiting beliefs as well. These were directly restricting her from giving herself permission to succeed at having the life that felt that like she felt fulfilled in. a meaningful, fulfilling life. To her, to Linda, a fulfilling life would be one where she traveled the world and she got to do what she loved every day. Just travel the world doing what she loves, you know? The other healers and therapists that she was working with had a couple of tools that helped, but mostly on the surface level with things that take years to implement, don't create lasting change, and don't work for everyone. The process that I've created is the only one that covers all the bases: unconscious, subconscious, conscious, and soul level transformation. Linda took a break from her job. She took a, oh my gosh, this thing in my eye, right? Linda took a break from her job. So she was working for the government. We started working together, she started doing the program. And after the program, she decided to take a break from her job. And and she went abroad. I remember this because I was like, oh, I don't know if she's ready. She went abroad to process what she had learned in the program and put it into practice, practice the work. She met some people in a traveling yoga school. Okay. She met some people in a traveling yoga school and became a certified instructor. And now she travels the world doing what she loves, y'all. She had the fastest transformation of all of my students ever because she was willing to do whatever it took to overcome her limiting beliefs and change her life no matter what. Like, she was like me. She was like, I'm not I'm not going to live my life like this anymore, you know? Okay, so those are the three most powerful beliefs empaths absorb that restrict your permission to succeed. They are: if you are not going to do it right, don't do it at all. Just false beliefs, false, 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 false. You have to be careful with money because it's scarce. No, we've got to shift that. We have to shift that perspective. And you are not good enough. Damn that. Damn that. Yes, you are. And so am I. We all are. If we're alive, we have a purpose. Now, keep in mind, there are hundreds of more belief systems. I mean, if not thousands. These are just ones I've seen the most in my students. But whatever they are, you too can overcome them and break through to achieve whatever you desire to be successful at. You're only limited by your beliefs. And we could argue that there are other things that you're limited by, but they all go back to your beliefs. Just saying. So here's my question for you today. How many of you want to stop working so hard for such little progress and finally experience the effortless flow? Yeah, effortless flow you see others having, but feel stuck because you've absorbed those limiting beliefs that are sabotaging your success from the subconscious at the subconscious level. It is very difficult to get there alone. Trust me. You will have blind spots, beliefs that you've absorbed that you can't even see are there. You might know something is blocking you, for example, but not know how to identify it. Or you might know what the belief is, but not know how to actually reprogram it at the subconscious or even on the soul level, so that you can break through to your next level for good, forever, without falling back into the same patterns as before. Okay. Now, this happens to be, as you probably well know, unless you're new here, this happens to be what I specialize in. It's the main thing I coach empathic women through, to break through absorbed limiting beliefs and step into their true purpose. And I am really good at it. What I do with clients in the Path to Your Purpose program is the gold standard for subconscious transformation and breakthrough. You can start flowing instead of forcing, succeeding instead of surviving, and creating instead of struggling. Get off that struggle bus, honey. Just like Linda, who went from feeling like she was just existing to traveling the world doing what she loves. If this is something that you want help with, comment breakthrough. Or if you prefer to keep it private message me breakthrough. Do it now. This is the ultimate fast track because you can integrate years worth of knowledge, failure, trial and error in a fraction of the time that you've actually already spent trying to solve this on your own. So if you do that, here's what will happen. I'll go ahead and reach back out to you. We'll have a quick conversation. I'll talk to you about what's going on and get clear on where you specifically are at. Okay? Like where you are at with breaking through your absorbed beliefs and anything else that you're going through that you want to talk to me about. And I'll give you an actionable plan to create your breakthrough that is relevant to you and your life right now. If I can't help you, I will tell you that. And I won't just tell you, oh, sorry, I can't help. I will connect you with someone. I have an extremely large network of people that I can refer you to. But I will connect you to someone or something that I think will be more helpful for you. But if I'm confident on how to help you break through these subconscious barriers, and your goal is actually to solve the problem forever, it might be the best decision you've ever made to comment breakthrough, or of course, send me a private message, breakthrough. If you got value from this training tonight, y'all, comment value and please let me know. We dropped some really critical bombs tonight, and they've all been about this absorbed limiting belief that empaths suffer from and that keep empaths stuck. That keep a lot of people stuck, honestly. Replayers, this applies to you too. If you got value, comment value. Again, if you are ready to break through those absorbed limiting beliefs and step into the life you're meant to live, comment breakthrough or send me the word breakthrough in a private message. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight. I'll see you on our next live training, which I'm already excited about. Now, go comment breakthrough or message breakthrough if you're ready to stop letting absorbed limiting beliefs run your life.